Hello, and welcome to the Garin Reaver Halloween special. The following is a story that I've written based on one that I was told many years ago. I hope you enjoy it. Early this year, to celebrate the arrival of 2012, the Smith family took a road trip, as they did every year. They loaded up their blue people carrier and set off. Mr. and Mrs. Smith had two young boys called Darren and Christopher. Well-behaved boys they were, but then, when the Smiths were driving round a large lake in the low mountains of Scotland, they kept complaining loudly about seeing something watching them from behind trees. Obviously their parents dismissed their ravings as tricks of the dimming light or figments of their overactive imaginations. It was getting dark, and Mr. Smith was well and truly lost. He refused to check the map, insisting that he knew where he was going. But the car's sat-nav had stopped working when they'd entered the mountains. As the car turned away from the lake, and the darkness became almost absolute, the boys shouted out that they'd heard a noise behind them. Mrs. Smith, slightly unnerved by her usually quiet children's announcements, asked Mr. Smith to drive a bit faster. The loving husband obliged. The elder son, Darren, tried to see out the back window, but his eyes couldn't pierce the darkness of the unlit roadway, while Christopher said that the footsteps were getting closer. By then, even the panicked children's parents could hear the sound, and Mr. Smith accelerated even more. The sounds got closer and closer, and louder and faster, until... as something landed on the roof. A ringing phone echoed through the silent house. Reluctantly, Jane answered the phone by her bed. "Hello?" "Get down to the station immediately," her boss yelled. "But it's 3 a.m, Jane protested. "Someone found the Smiths," her boss said simply, before hanging up. Quickly the detective dressed, rushed out to her car, and sped to the police station. Upon arriving, Jane was hurried into a car with 4 male detectives, all the people who had been investigating the Smith family's disappearance a few weeks ago. They drove for a time and were soon going around a lake in the low mountains. They continued along in the footsteps of the Smiths until their car's headlights fell upon something in the middle of the road. A car door from a blue people carrier. The driver stopped the car and they all got out. Using torches to see in the utter black, the 5 began to search around. It didn't take them long to find the car, registered in Mr. Smith's name, crashed into a tree a little way off the road. All 4 of the car's doors had been ripped off of the vehicle and were scattered around the crash, and the roof had been caved in. When they got closer, the detectives found that the interior was coated in dried blood. Slowly and carefully, the 5 detectives continued to scan the area. Then one of the men found a scarf that matched the one Mrs. Smith was last seen wearing. It was drenched in blood and lay discarded by the roadside. Following the path of her running, another detective found a baseball cap with Darren's name tag in it. It too was thickly coated in blood. Fearing what they may find, the detectives kept looking. Moving further along the road, they found it. Lying in the road, in a pool of dried blood, was Mr. Smith. He was long since passed, but his body was strangely not decomposed at all, despite the long time since his death. Beside him, written on the smooth tarmac in what could only be his own blood, he had scrawled out a short warning. It said, "The claw is here. Run!" Obeying Mr. Smith's final order, the 5 sprinted back to their car and all piled in, Jane being forced into the middle of the back seat, surrounded by her male colleagues. The driver started the car and they sped past the car door in the road. Very soon, they heard things. And so the driver sped up more. The detectives were getting worried as none of their radios would work. They were cut off from support. And suddenly, as something hit the roof. It dented, and the driver slammed on the brakes, hoping to send whatever was on the roof flying. The car stopped, and there was silence. But then 4 large, fur-covered claws smashed into the car doors from on top of the roof, ripped them off and threw them far. The claws then returned, took hold of the 4 male detectives, and pulled them out of the vehicle. The last thing that Jane saw was something massive and furry, striding away into the forest before everything went black. A ringing phone echoed through the silent house. With a start, Jane awoke in her bed. "Hello? Get down to the station immediately," her boss yelled. "I know that it's 3 in the morning, but someone found the Smiths."
If you like this story, let me know and I might do some more. Thank you for watching. Have a nice Halloween.